Rijal Al Ghaib, the hidden saints of Islam. Have you ever heard whispers about men who walk the earth unseen? Not ghosts, not angels, but human beings, chosen servants of Allah, who live hidden among us. They carry no titles, wear no crowns, and hold no worldly positions. Yet it is said that through them, the world itself is kept in balance. These are the Rijal Al Ghaib, the men of the unseen, a secret company of saints whose identities remain hidden, whose prayers sustain the earth, and whose presence has fascinated mystics and seekers for centuries. And here lies the mystery. The great Sufis themselves, Ibn Arabi, the master of Andalusia, and Abdul Qadir al-Jilani, the saint of Baghdad, spoke of their existence. They whispered of a hidden hierarchy of saints, unseen by the masses, yet known to Allah. But who are they? Do they truly exist? And what lessons can we draw from their mysterious legacy? The term Rijal Al Ghaib literally means men of the unseen. In Islamic tradition, this phrase refers to a hidden group of saints, righteous servants of Allah who live among mankind but remain unknown even to those closest to them. They are not prophets, they are not famous scholars. Rather, they are said to be friends of Allah, awliya Allah, chosen not for their status, but for their humility and sincerity. The Quran reminds us that only Allah knows the unseen. With Him are the keys of the unseen, none knows them but He. Surah Al-An'am. Yet, throughout history, mystics and spiritual masters have spoken of these hidden men, Rijal Al Ghaib, who quietly serve as protectors of the earth by Allah's will. Origins and sources of Rijal Al Ghaib. So where did this idea come from? The earliest references appear in the sayings of the great Sufi masters. Ibn Arabi, in his monumental work Al-Futuhat al-Makkiyah, describes different categories of saints, each serving a unique role in Allah's creation. He spoke of the Qutb, the pole, a single saint at the center of the spiritual universe. Around him are helpers known as the Abdal, the substitutes. When one dies, another unknown saint takes his place. Similarly, Abdul Qadir al-Jilani, the great saint of Baghdad, often spoke of the unseen hierarchy. In his discourses he mentioned that Allah has always kept hidden servants in every generation, men who quietly carry the burdens of humanity's spiritual needs. Even earlier, Muslim historians wrote about the 40 Abdal, believed to be righteous men who remain scattered across the earth. Whenever one dies, another replaces him, keeping the number constant. These descriptions were never meant as dogma, but as glimpses into the mysteries of Allah's creation, shared by those who had tasted the depths of spiritual reality. The hierarchy of the hidden Sufis. According to Sufi tradition, the unseen saints are not random. They form a mysterious hierarchy, a spiritual order, each with a role in maintaining balance in the world. At the highest level stands the Qutb, also called the Goth, the helper. The Qutb is believed to be the spiritual axis of the world, the hidden heart through which divine mercy flows to creation. It is said that without the Qutb, the earth would lose its balance. At any given time there is only one Qutb, and his identity is hidden even from the other Sufis. Around him are the two Imams, one facing east, the other facing west. They serve as his companions, carrying the light of knowledge to every corner of the earth. Then come the Awtad, the 4 pillars. They are likened to the pegs of a tent or the corners of the Kaaba. Each one guards a direction of the earth, north, south, east and west, ensuring that the world remains stable, just as a tent stands firm upon its pegs. Beneath them are the Abdal, the 40 substitutes. Their number is said to always remain 40. Whenever one of them dies, Allah replaces him with another hidden Abd, so the circle is never broken. The Abdal are spread across the earth, often disguised as ordinary men, a farmer in a village, a traveler in the desert, a stranger passing by. No one recognizes them. Not even their families, but their prayers and silent devotion ripple through the world like hidden waves of light. Some Sufi traditions also speak of the Nujaba, the noble ones, the Nukaba, the leaders, and the Akhyar, the chosen ones, each with their own hidden roles assigned by Allah in the unseen kingdom. Ibn Arabi described this hierarchy as a spiritual government, not of this world, but of the unseen. A government where humility is power and anonymity is the crown. Imagine a secret gathering of saints beneath the stars, each one praying in silence, their hearts connected, their presence unknown to mankind. The world may never see them, but through their prayers, it is said, the earth continues to turn. Stories and legends. The idea of Rijal Al Ghaib has fascinated Muslims for centuries, not only in whispered stories, but also in the writings of great Sufi masters. The great master Ibn Arabi, in his monumental work Al-Futuhat al-Makkiyah, describes the Qutb, the spiritual pole of the world, and around him the Awtad, the Abdal, and others. Similarly, Abdul Qadir al-Jilani in Futuh al-Ghayb speaks of hidden servants of Allah who remain unknown, yet whose prayers sustain the earth. Even earlier, al-Hakim al-Tirmidhi, in his Khatam al-Awliya, wrote of saints veiled from the eyes of men. And centuries later, Imam al-Suyuti would compile a treatise gathering narrations on the Qutb, the Awtad, the Nujaba, and the Abdal. But alongside these scholarly works, countless stories spread among the people, stories that blur the line between history and legend, between what is seen and what remains hidden. One story tells of a traveler in the Syrian desert, lost and near death. His lips cracked, his body weak, he whispered a final prayer for help. Just then, a stranger appeared, dressed simply, with a calm face, offering him water and guiding him to safety. When the man turned to thank his rescuer, he had vanished into the horizon. The villagers later said, "Perhaps you were aided by one of the Abdal." Another legend speaks of a severe drought in Damascus. The people gathered to pray for rain, but the skies remained empty. That night, a humble man was seen crying alone in the mosque, his forehead pressed to the ground. Before dawn, heavy rains poured upon the land. When people searched for the man the next day, he was nowhere to be found. Many believed he was one of the hidden saints whose single prayer shook the heavens. Ibn Arabi himself recorded unusual encounters during his travels. In one account, he met a shepherd in North Africa whose words carried wisdom far beyond his station. When Ibn Arabi pressed him, the man smiled and said, "I am no one important, just a servant of Allah." Only later did Ibn Arabi realize he had spoken to one of the Rijal Al Ghaib. Abdul Qadir al-Jilani also spoke of mysterious gatherings in Baghdad. He described circles of hidden saints who would meet unseen, praying for the world in unison. Their meeting places could be a marketplace, a deserted street, or the corner of a mosque. No one noticed them, except those with hearts open to the unseen. Other tales spread among villagers and travelers, of caravans saved from bandits by strangers who disappeared after the danger was gone, of lost ships suddenly guided to shore by men who vanished once safety was reached, of rulers brought to humility after receiving advice from a beggar, only to later discover the beggar could not be found again. These stories were never meant as historical records. Rather, they served as reminders of hope, that Allah always has servants whose prayers and presence protect the world, even if no one knows their names. And perhaps the greatest lesson in these legends is this: the hidden saints never seek recognition. Their power lies in their anonymity. Their honor lies in being unknown. A hidden world beyond time. The stories of the Rijal Al Ghaib are not limited to earthly journeys. Many mystics speak of them as men who step beyond the boundaries of time and space. It is said that the Qutb, the spiritual pole, sees the world not as we see it, moment by moment, but as a vast tapestry woven all at once. Past, present, and future are laid before him like pages in an open book. There are legends of saints who vanished from one city and appeared in another within moments, crossing deserts and seas as though distance did not exist. Some stories tell of meetings in mysterious places, gatherings of the hidden men where decisions are made, destinies are whispered, and the balance of the earth is maintained. To ordinary eyes, these stories sound impossible. But to those who live in the spiritual world, they are reminders that the laws of this universe are only a veil, and beyond that veil lies the true power of Allah. The Quran itself reminds us, "And they ask you about the soul, say, the soul is of the affair of my Lord, and you have not been given of knowledge except a little." Surah Al-Isra, 1785. Perhaps the Rijal Al Ghaib live within that mystery, men who walk the earth but whose souls travel where time cannot bind them. And perhaps it is in these unseen realms that the mercy of Allah flows most strongly into our world. Echoes of the hidden in our lives. Even if we cannot step beyond time, like the saints in the legends, we too can glimpse the hidden world through our own deeds and prayers. The Rijal Al Ghaib remind us that true power lies not in fame, wealth, or recognition, but in the quiet, unseen acts of devotion. A tear shed in the night, a coin given in secret, a prayer whispered when no one watches. These are the echoes of the hidden world flowing into ours. Perhaps the old man who wakes before dawn to pray is walking the same path as the saints of old. Perhaps the young woman who resists temptation in silence is closer to Allah than the world will ever know. The Quran reminds us, "Indeed, the friends of Allah, there will be no fear upon them, nor will they grieve." Surah Yunus 10:62. Even in our ordinary lives, these hidden acts connect us to the unseen, to a world beyond time, where sincerity and devotion are the true measures of closeness to Allah. Perhaps you have already encountered someone whose presence felt extraordinary, a person whose prayers, guidance, or kindness seemed almost beyond explanation. Could they have been one of the Rijal Al Ghaib? Share your experiences or thoughts in the comments below. We would love to hear your stories. The lesson is clear. We may never see the Rijal Al Ghaib, but we can live as if we are part of their world, embodying humility, devotion, and silent service. How to meet Rijal Al Ghaib, the hidden men of Allah. They are hidden with a purpose. They do not wish to be found, and yet, throughout history, a few seekers, pure in heart, devoted in spirit, have stumbled upon the presence of the Rijal Al Ghaib. But how? What path leads a person into the company of these unseen saints? The great masters never gave a map, but they left behind signs, hints, fragments of truth for those willing to listen. Ibn Arabi, in his Al-Futuhat al-Makkiyah, wrote that the hidden men are veiled from the arrogant, but visible to the innocent. He tells of a scholar who searched for the Abdal in every city, but never saw them. Yet a shepherd boy, who prayed with a heart free of pride, was suddenly guided to one of their circles. The lesson? The saints cannot be found through books and arguments, but through sincerity that even a child can hold. Abdul Qadir al-Jilani, rahimahullah, the Sufi of Baghdad, once revealed something mysterious. The hidden men will come to you when Allah wills, not when you will it. They are not known by faces or names, but by the fragrance of their prayer. What is this fragrance? The Sufis say it is the unseen light of a heart connected to Allah, a presence so powerful that it can change a room, calm a storm, or bring rain to dry lands. Some seekers described strange encounters. One man said he met a beggar on the streets of Cairo. The beggar asked for nothing, spoke little, but when he lifted his eyes, the man felt as though the entire world had fallen silent. Later, he realized he may have spoken to one of the Abdals. Another story from the Maghrib tells of a merchant saved from a storm at sea. He swore that a stranger appeared on deck, gave him courage, and then vanished when the waves calmed. To him it was clear, Allah had sent one of the Rijal Al Ghaib. But here lies the deeper truth. The masters say you cannot chase them. If you set out searching for hidden saints, you will only find shadows. But if you seek Allah with a broken heart, they may appear when you least expect it. Imam Suyuti even hinted that these men sometimes test seekers. They appear in the most ordinary forms: a servant sweeping the mosque, a poor traveler asking for bread, a quiet stranger at the edge of a gathering. Those who treat them with honor may find their lives transformed, while those who turn away may never know what blessing they have lost. So how can one hope to meet them? Not by force, not by ritual, but by becoming like them. Hidden in sincerity, silent in worship, unknown to the world but known to Allah. Perhaps the one who wakes before dawn, unseen by his neighbors, and whispers tears before his Lord, is already walking the same path as the Rijal Al Ghaib. And maybe, just maybe, one day, in a crowded street or a lonely desert, you may find yourself face to face with a stranger whose presence shakes your heart. You may never know his name, but in that moment you will have stepped into the mystery, the circle of the unseen. Walking with the unseen. The mystery of the Rijal Al Ghaib will always remain beyond our reach in this life. And yet, perhaps the true secret was never about finding them, but about walking their path. Every hidden act of kindness, every sincere tear in the night, every prayer whispered only for Allah. These are the footsteps of the unseen saints. So ask yourself, could you be among them? Could your secret devotion be the prayer that protects another soul, or even tips the balance of the world? Only Allah knows His chosen ones. But what we do know is this: when we live with humility and sincerity, we too step into the fragrance of the unseen. If this journey stirred your heart, please like this video and subscribe to Manar al-Madinah. Your support helps us bring more of these timeless treasures to seekers across the world. And remember, in every generation, Allah's mercy flows through the unseen. Perhaps, even now, one of His hidden saints walks beside you, unseen, but never unknown to Allah.